and disgusted. Well, now, greetings, campers. Apologies for the late start. As I was about to hit go live, the phone rang, and guess who? GW, I mean Mr. Blackberry. So I asked him two very important questions that were posed by our campers. One was, hey, the word is that the communications are being blocked in D.C. I heard that several places, and others clarified that and said, no, it's only international phone calls. Well, I said, what's the deal? He said, no, not true. I said, okay. I said, because I saw you were broadcasting and live streaming. He goes, yeah. He says, the Wi-Fi is sporadic, and they could be blocking it. I said, or it could just be super jammed up from use. Who knows? He said, right. The second is whether or not the troop presence is real. People had suggested that perhaps that's a psyop, that they're really not 30,000 troops, and blah, blah, blah. And he said, no, it's real. I said, okay, good. And then I said, look, man, am I going to get your smiling face over here or what? And then we were kidding around about what the background should be. Should it be the blue background, or should it be the magic mirror with the happy red bedspread? I think we'll do whatever's more convenient. Because we're citizen journalists, and this is what the High-Tech Broadcast Center, colloquial broadcasting. That's CBC, Colloquial Broadcasting Center. Are we having fun yet? Yeah, I was blasting Zeppelin. I went out and I grabbed a little cup of coffee, and then I sat in the car and spilled it all over my lap. Thankfully, I was wearing long pants. We're in Florida, you know. It could have hurt. It was very hot. So I cleaned it up. I said, nope, that means we're not doing a Zepp broadcast, but we will say some quotes. All last night, sat on the levee and moaned. Boom, boom, pop. Okay, got links for you. Let's discuss a couple of interesting thoughts. And I think I'm going to introduce new rules into the comments. I pinned some interesting comments. We had a lot of excellent comments. TJ is up there. Got a couple of fun links towards the bottom. Here's the stuff you really want to hear. You don't want to know about, right? The intelligent shit. You want to see the crap. So let's go with the crap. We'll work it from the bottom. The non-crap at the very bottom is link number 10, and I numbered them for you. That's a statement from Cindy Powell concerning Trump's inaction. Excuse me, did I wake you? Inaction over the rigged 2020 elections. That's the title. This is her written statement, purportedly, on rents.com. And she questions that, as did I. Now, it's just for you hopium fiends, right? Are you missing your Jones? Not enough hopium? Well, Trump is evidently planning his farewell speech or gala party in Florida on the same date and probably the same time as the inauguration. So that means our boy's getting out of town. That means we're not doing a Trump takeover, unless, of course, you know, he's going to be away from the action, and that's why those troops are there. So they'll arrest everybody, right? Pachenik? Yeah. I mean, let's talk about Mike, what's his name, Adams. All right, so he did another blurb yesterday. They were great comments, appreciate them, and the analysis of both Mike and Pachenik. And Mike cited no authority for where he got his information. I have my information and my sources. Yeah, right here. Okay, so that's good comments on that. So now he's giving us more of his blather, and he's saying, without naming Pachenik, talking about Pachenik, and he makes the good point, when somebody says they're into psychological operations and they tell you that, and that's what Pachenik was doing, believe them. So why would you believe the guy? Because he's feeding you what you want to hear. What is that called? Confirmation bias? Well, no. Okay, so number nine, here's the one you really want to see, and I got a shout out to Tattered Playlist. This is great. Video of Buffalo Boy. Buffalo Boy in the Senate chamber. This is unreal. This is like from his little camera. This is too cute. It's on Gab. And we've got Dickhead walking into the chamber, yelling. And then there's another idiot sitting there and a couple of invaders. And then one of the cops comes in. Now, notice this. It's a very short clip. But notice how the cop says, hey, is there any way I could convince you guys to leave? That's like ordering them to leave. I don't know. Do you see a difference? Maybe he was scared. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe they weren't properly trained. Maybe it's a government job. You tell me. Do tell. Love the comments. So that's number 9. But statement from Sydney. Didn't I say you could make the argument that somebody who knows that our democracy was just completely undermined and doesn't do anything about it is aiding and abetting and could be charged with a strong argument for treason? I just mentioned this to Webb. I said, so listen, I forgot your position on this, George. And as our engineering department suggested to me yesterday, have we been trumped? What do we get? We get stuck with, literally, Operation Warp Speed and Biden. All right, so Buffalo Boy is number 9. Number 8, this is good. I don't remember who sent me this. Oh, this is from Hawaii. All right. This is another quick little thing. I had to upload it. She couldn't upload this, so I did, and I'm giving you the link. Another short video, number 8, from a construction worker in D.C. It's from Friday morning, 06:30, and he's walking into work. And he's showing footage of the occupation lockdown. You tell me if you think this is bullshit. It's not. I think it's real. But maybe he made the whole thing up, and maybe it's really not there. It's someplace else. Going down to the pop-up spikes for tire blocking and the little makeshift tunnel to pass through access. And he's talking about his security passes and how people have to get in. All right? It's a good little video. Real short. Check it out. A minute long. Buffalo Boy, a minute, maybe 2. Check that out. That's 8 and 9, respectively. But don't forget number 10, which is Sidney Powell commenting on Trump's inaction, right? If you missed it, go back and catch my rant on last Sunday. Not yesterday, last Sunday. And today is Monday. What's today? The 18th, and the time of January 2021. Cool, huh? 2021. And it's about 9:45 a.m. Eastern time. I don't know, is it standard or daylight? But it's East Coast time, U.S. Greetings. All right, so we got the construction worker. Now, a new camper, and I forgot her name, was wondering about Monkey Works. And we had other people talking about Monkey Works and that he's legitimate and he is, I believe he's authentic. And I think he has credibility and he's genuine. However, doesn't mean he's not misled. Here's your post, campers, number 7. He extols Q. Sorry. This is not on his video because it would be taken down. And he goes into the discussion of chess. And what is he calling it? The Sicilian opening, the Sicilian defense. And goes through a chess lesson for us. There was one comment he made in there that was amazing. That he construes to support his argument rather than the other way around. Oh, I remember that Biden's team is called Checkmate. So in his mind, he sees that mean that Trump just checkmated Biden. Really. How about the obvious, that that team just checkmated us? Because when you checkmate, you win, or if you've been checkmated, you lose. So checkmate is the team. Interesting. So have we just been checkmated? Are we smiling? We should be. All right, but stay tuned. I didn't give you the alternative yet. So that's Monkey Works, right? So keep finding evidence to support the conclusion you want to find. The best link here is number 6. This is Joshua Phillip from Epoch Times. This is a very reporter, kind of factually based discussion, worth watching. And I'm still in the middle of it, but I wanted to come out here and not extend this too long because I didn't want to keep our Australian, the New Zealanders, and Far Coast Pacific Islanders up too late, right? Check this out. He does a good analysis, and he mentions Trump planning to go to Florida. Excuse me, and I mentioned it to George. And it's like, yeah, sure, he's going to be there at the command center while Biden swears in. Unbelievable. A lot of good information, level-headed, coherent, non-nonsensical, non-hysterical, not the people who are wanting to believe that there's going to be the swing-back takeover and protect the Constitution. And they're panicking now because what I said, and I will repeat, is what happens, and it's kind of rhetorical, but it's serious. I don't have the answer to the people who believe that this is going to happen, the Q followers, the patriots who believe that, hey, this guy has an obligation to stand up for the country and the Constitution, and he doesn't. So we get trumped, right? Deception, and he wanders off. And it's like, wow, shocking. The Q people is like, wow, we've been lied to. And they're going to be under Naomi Klein's interesting title from 15 years ago, the shock doctrine. And that was why we had Rumsfeld talking about shock and awe, because when something happens that is so shocking, your brain disengages and goes into shock. And I submit to you, and I suggest that all of these people, millions, will be in shock. And while they are in shock, scratching their head, going, oh my God, what do I do? While they're staying up all night, sitting on the levee and moaning, what will be happening? The slither will be encroaching. Let's bring this up. The slither, I repeat, will be encroaching. Biden will step in, and he will be, doing his mask mandates. And Joshua Phillip talks about this. It's about at the 35-minute mark. It's an hour long. I'm not done. I'm right at about 40, 42. And he's running a list of the proposed bullshit that Biden wants to do, and the minimum wage and how many jobs that's going to destroy, and the masks for federal properties, and the whole thing. And it just sounds like if Trump is aware of this in his own self-indulgent, self-aggrandizing mode, how could he allow this to happen if he is not part of the plan? Trust the plan. That's a question. Leave a comment. We love argument, but it must be civil. There will be no abuse of bullshit. There will be no name-calling and nastiness, because you will be weeded. Now let me continue on the new policy. If you're going to put in conclusory statements that this is this, or Kushner, who I asked anything, he said no, and nobody posted a link to Kushner being prevented and blocked from the White House. So I construe that to mean bogus. So that's showing up in chats, that's showing up in comments, and it's nonsense. So anybody that's making statements, especially if I don't know them, who hasn't been a camper for a while, without a link or some evidence to support it, blanket conclusions will not be supported. We like argument and well-reasoned thought here. We're trying to cultivate that here in the garden. And we do tend the garden. People were commenting like, wow, you acknowledge? Yeah, I said, yes, I tend the garden and the campground, indeed. Right? So, one guy made a comment that's like, why discuss things that are that we're unable to do anything about, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, because you can prepare. Right? So the new policy is those comments will be removed without evidence or without supporting things. Okay? Got it? That doesn't mean you're being weeded. The comment will be removed. When it happens a second time, then we are getting close to the weed button. And maybe that'll just go. It depends how outrageous, stupid, offensive, intrusive, or mentally ill it is. Okay? Because we need to keep our boundaries clear. All right. So number 6 is Joshua Phillips. Phillip. I don't know. Is it Phillip or Phillips? Going backwards. Number 5. Who put this up? This is great. I want to give a shout out to Becky Green. She found the full movie that we had the 6-minute clip from David Martin. This is also important. This is a 2-hour thing. This is a video done by Sasha Stone with RFK Jr., David Martin, Judy Mikovits, and Rocco somebody Galente, who I have no idea who he is and why he's a rock star. I don't know. But these other three, we do know. And they are credible, precise, and knowledgeable, yes? So this is excellent. I'm looking forward to watching that. The David Martin thing I put up yesterday, I have to say something about. Vilma called me. She drove down to Miami. And from the car, she said, this David Martin thing, she said, call me about the David Martin link. I'm like, okay. So I called her. And she said, that is so excellent. So excellent. And if you haven't seen it, jump back and watch that from yesterday's link. That we should create a template based on that so the campers can take it and send it to their state's attorney general, their representatives, their governor, and our federal morons, and do some citizen engagement. I don't want to say the word activism. We'll say engagement. Right? Right. Okay. I love that idea. She was quite thrilled. And you know the way Vilma gets. She is very accurate, and she says she's a little OCD, but the precision is excellent. And I love that idea. And speaking of Chuck out of the engineering department, he said Tuesday, because today is a holiday, campers. So the federal government should be shut down so they can have a day off. Or are they up there scheming and sliming? Who knows? Okay, but Chuck said he's going to contact his state attorney general and hassle him on Tuesday. So maybe we'll put something together. Vilma will, and I'll work with her on it, and we'll come back and talk about it. That's important because David Martin establishes that this horseshit is not a vaccine by definition. Therefore, you can't. The whole thing is you lose the argument if you call it a vaccine, and it goes by definition. It's fascinating. You need to listen both to yesterday's link of him in the full show and then the 6-minute clip that he's in here with Kennedy and Mikovits, because he just runs through it and it shows. I lost my train of thought there. The 6-minute clip is on the video the day before. That's just Martin's part out of this big movie, and it's an excellent piece. All right, so that's number 5, right? RFK, Martin, David Martin, Dr. David Martin, and Dr. Judy Mikovits. All right, now, remember yesterday? Well, I have to correct myself. I said Biden's pick for CIA director may not be all bad news. I think I was overly optimistic, and I responded to Cheryl, and she had sent me 3 links on this guy. What the hell's his name? I forgot his name already, but we'll see if he goes in. But this is a fun link. Check this out. Number 4, right? Number 4. He has Carlyle Group links. Interesting. And I put a question mark, but yeah, he does. So the Carlyle Group, that international group of arms dealers and power players, and this guy was State Department and all kinds of interesting titles. So to call him a civilian is delusional. So I apologize for spreading hopium. And the wife. The wife was yesterday. There's 2 more links. I'll be adding them in tomorrow and the next day so we can see what a lovely selection Mr. Biden made. All right. Now, number 3 is fascinating. We're going backwards here in case you just joined us. These are the COVID vaccine instructions. One of our campers, I apologize, I forgot her name. It's a strange name, but she's an RN, and it's a moniker, pulled this. And she was commenting on the process of the vials of this vaccine have to be reconstituted on site. So evidently you have to add saline solution to the powder that has been in frozen animation, and then evidently if it's not distributed or used, She was saying about 5 out of 6 of the vaccines. So each package is about a it's a 6-pack. Ha! And that basically 5 out of 6 are being discarded or going to waste. Oh, good. That's separate and distinct from the question of the, what do we want to call that? The placebo saline solution. Interesting. And she was saying that these are pre-marked, but I don't know. How are they pre-marked if you have to distribute them into 6, right? So do you have to distribute them, or you just have to add saline to each one? Very strange, very bizarre kind of distribution arrangement. Now, so number 3 is from Pfizer, and this is the instructions. This is what, 22 or 28-page PDF? I don't know. Can you see some confusion and screw-ups with this? I can. I didn't get in and speak with my lovely pharmacist. I'll have to do that and say, are you guys mixing these up here? Are you now a compounding pharmacy? Ooh, what a question. You know what a compounding pharmacy is, right? They don't just take the dose of the pills and divvy up, all right, here's your 10 pills and put your name on it and charge you. No, they actually mix the various chemicals, compounds, and elements in order to create the pharmaceutical. Yeah, interesting. Compounding pharmacy. So if they're spinning these up by adding stuff, does that make them a compounding pharmacy? You decide. Wouldn't that be an interesting way to stop Walgreens and supermarket drugstores and whatnot from distributing this? But wait, they're authorized under an EUA to do a vaccine. But wait, it's not a vaccine. Now you understand how important this is. Good stuff. Number 3. Number 3. We're smiling because the stupidity of their horseshit is unraveling as we continue to watch and look, discern. Know what I mean? This is why important. It's very important that we have good comments from our campers who bring up great stuff. People who say dancing robots are going to take the arms get deleted. Okay? People that come in and say, hey, mister, you don't know how to connect the dots. And I respond, and they don't respond to my response, who are hysterical saying, this isn't Q shit. Trump is going to... Okay. Don't respond, and very aggressive, antagonistic, and, shall we say, insulting? Yeah. Hysterical, troll, garbage dispersion into the internet, AI, I don't know, let's see, no content on the channel. It's always interesting. Yeah. That didn't get blocked, that got deleted. It's going to get blocked because I don't appreciate that crap. Moving up the list, number 2, Liz Wheeler Insurance must pay for gender dysphoria mastectomies. Now, I was starting with the silly shit up top. This is beyond silly. This is demented, in my opinion. And in California, the insurance companies have to pay for radical mastectomies of girls who want to become boys. It's not cosmetic surgery. Check this out to see how twisted this has become. Curious. Disturbing, but Liz is good. I don't think we get a no-no out of it. So I'll give you a no-no. And the first one is also not funny. This is from Vaccine Impact, and you should subscribe to this because they pull articles worldwide. And RFK articles. And also, I don't know if you follow Kennedy's thing from Children's Health Defense. It's called The Defender, and there's 4 or 5 articles. It's a daily email newsletter. It's like information overload, but it's good stuff. And in the last one, he made the point how our FDA is real slow to ban toxic pesticides like Roundup. Okay? Interesting. What a great job they're doing. Well, how about the USDA? Government agencies. We talked about that 2 weeks ago. Where'd they all come from? That's Roosevelt, where he usurped the power of Congress by creating administrative agencies. the administration. And the way they tried to get around it, and they should be absolved, as far as I can see, or should I say dissolved, is they have congressional oversight. And Swalwell is now going to be head of the Permanent Select Intelligence Committee in Congress. And there's no investigation into Pelosi. All right. Okay, so anyway, link number 1. There's a lot to go over, and I'm not going to do it. It's just insanity. Norway. Oh, I didn't get to the alternative yet. Oh, wait, I'll give you the alternative, and I'm pretty sure that's where it is. Rather than cruise missile attacks, I think we have a different question. But this one right here, Norway and U.S. death tolls rise. They're saying Norway is up to 29, and the U.S. is up to, what were they, 55. I think those are low. Those are, but, you know, that's the report. And this is from the COVID injections. It's a good article, and it's a little frightening. So for those people who are waiting online to go get it, especially older people, because the people in Norway were like 75 and up, and that's where the major impact is. We've discussed this. Are they the most vulnerable, and wouldn't it be convenient to have them die off in order to not remember what life was before a fascist communist takeover? Interesting. All right, so take a look at this. And there was one more point I wanted to hit. There's always more, because it goes on and on and on. And what is that? Bronjar Stomp? Yeah. All right, so Norway, Liz Wheeler, the Vax instructions, number 3, Biden's pick for CIA director, and his Carlisle. Links, RFK, David Martin, Judy Mikovits, the full video. I saw it was coming up, but this is when it was. Evidently, it was broadcast 5 January 2021. They're discussing Fauci, purportedly. I want to watch that whole thing. And we've got Joshua Phillips, number 6. Check this out for an update, level-headed scenario of what's going on in Washington. Monkey Works, extolling Q and 5D chess, whatever 5D chess means. And then we've got a video from D.C. with the construction worker. Buffalo Boy is number 9 in the chamber, and 10 is the statement from Cindy Powell, written into rents.com. Evidently, there's been a spat between Trump and Rudy. Rudy evidently was getting paid $20,000 a day for his antics. Look, I mentioned this last week to Jacqueline, who's up in New Jersey. And the deal is, when September 11th happened, you remember Rudy was walking around the streets and looking like he was engaged. Well, the reason he was in the streets is because his command center was destroyed. That was in the World Trade Center. And the problem is, they told him not to put it there after the 93 attack. They told him put it across the river into Brooklyn. He didn't. The Trade Center was the most expensive real estate in the city, from what I'm told. And yet we had the Port Authority there and other government entities. And maybe he was just helping pay the rent for his buddy who was the new owner. I don't know. But the firemen and the police hate him in New York because he prevented them. I'm not sure how and whom, but I know he did, and he's blamed for it. Proper communications where they could talk to each other. So as a result, there were many deaths that occurred based on September 11th. When he was running for president, whatever year that was, they totally trashed him, and the information they put out totally undermined his campaign. Not to mention, after he was in private practice as a lawyer, he was representing Dubai in the process, an attempt to buy the Pennsylvania Turnpike or the Thruway in there to privatize it with, what was his name, Ed Randell? Was he the governor over there then? So big foreign stuff that he wants to do. Remember, he didn't want to be U.S. attorney. He wanted to be Secretary of State so he could go and develop his relations for his law firm. I don't like the guy. I don't trust the guy. Some of his arguments are good. Most of it, I think he's a clown. When he's standing outside the Big Tent introducing all of this information about Ukraine, the question is, How come that was outside the big tent and not put in? How come Trump didn't make him a special prosecutor? Why is he's like the circus geek outside the tent when you go in and see the big show? You know what I mean? I've asked that question, and I thought it was a huge mistake for Trump to have him run that operation. Notice how Sydney was not part of that team. They made it blindingly clear. Sydney did her thing. I still have questions why she didn't sue Dominion, but she makes the point now about Trump. Why didn't Trump do something? Right? Now let's see. Maybe, way long shot, something Trump is going to do on Wednesday will be real. Maybe not. I would say not, and we still have the standing offer that I will eat my hat if he comes through and saves the republic. Salsa, it'll be a straw hat, not a baseball cap. Those are too chewy. All right, so that's the deal. Now, the alternative to a disaster is this. Rather than having cruise missiles come firing in, and there is no indication of where these Patriot missile banks are set up, according to Mike Adams, and all his discussion, and check the pinned comment I put in yesterday for TJ, give us a good military analysis. It's clearly overkill. So we know that. Now, why? Is it preparing for something we're unaware of? Or is it show? Is it theater? Is it intended to desensitize the public to the use of troops on our homeland? Oh, wait, that's that Nazi term by Karl Rove, the homeland. Yeah? Right, on our soil. So this way we have deployed troops. So if you listen to Joshua Phillips, and what is that, 5 or 6? That's an excellent piece. He reads a blurb by Bowser, Mayor Bowser, and I told you she is radical, and makes some good points. That's a great piece today. Take a look at that one. And she's talking about the new normal. So I don't know, does she have the delusion it's going to stay like that? But I will lay this out for you real quick, okay? You have Black Lives Matter, in quotes, or is that Big Lunches Matter, with their, uncontrollable Antifa that just happened to show up, and they burn down cities, violent riots, racist riots, all kinds of violent bullshit. Democrat governors, mayors, and the media call them peaceful protests, and nobody shut them down. The media, and Chris Cuomo is on tape, and there was a good clip where he says, well, a revolution doesn't say you have to be polite. That was him describing those clowns and all kinds of nasty shit. Now, when this little stunt goes on in the Capitol, not only was this not the MAGA people, it was clearly spun up to be a Reichstag fire. So this is the Reichstag, which is a false flag attack. That's what happened in Germany. Hitler's people burned down the Reichstag, which I think is what their Congress or their parliament building, and blamed it on the communists, and then Hitler took power to protect them from the communists. Okay, this is like note for note, same thing. They send in the attack, they make a fuss. I don't know why that girl got shot. Why is it that that cop hasn't been picked up? What is the status of the other people? There's a lot of questions that aren't being covered or released, right? But the guy on the left gets released no bail when he is actively aggressive and speaking in violent terms and promoting it on his activist group, right? Sullivan, curious. So here's your sequence. Create the issue, and then say, okay, now we have to protect against it. And this layers back with the crap back with the riots in the summer, because now when the public finally wakes up to the abuse and they want to push back, the government has now positioned themselves to protect against unruly riots. Right? I said this. I said the pushback has to happen immediately back in Michigan. So now, not only is it fake reasoning, and as I've mentioned, the Constitution was created, why? To protect the people from the government. If you've been listening and been a long-time viewer, listener, camper, supporter, and student, then you know that the government has reversed that. Our people, citizens, individuals, real people, not corporate people, rights have been eroded on different pretexts. Yeah, well, shall we say, the Patriot Act. This thing coming up needs to be addressed and pushed back very hard on, big time. What are we going to call it? The Domestic Terrorism Act. So now, anybody who stands up for their rights is now a domestic terrorist. But when you listen to these guys, and I just have to insert this, they impeach Trump for inciting a riot, supposedly. Yet when you have people like Maxine Waters advocating violence and violating representatives' rights, get in their face, get a crowd, scream at them, push back, restaurants and public, okay? How is that not a violation of ethics in the House and or violation of the Constitution? How is it that these clowns are now calling for the expungement or expellation for members to be expelled, senators who objected to the electoral count? They should be expelled. House members should be expelled. They're talking about cleansing. They're talking about preventing work. These are all unconstitutional equal protection violations, right? What if it said blacks can't do it? What if it said Jews aren't allowed to do it? What if it said gays aren't allowed to do it? No. It says Trump supporters. Does this now become a suspect class for constitutional scrutiny? But the people advocating it are violating their oath to uphold the Constitution. And that is the friggin' problem in this country, okay? Nobody is holding them accountable. Nobody in the media is saying, what about their oath to uphold the Constitution? Even Mark Levin, who is a constitutional attorney, doesn't go there. He talks about and promotes his book and the ridiculous title, On Freedom of the Press. Does he talk about Smith Mundt and state-run media? Not to my knowledge. I haven't read it. I found it was annoyingly kind of skipping the issue, propaganda. So it's unfreedom of the press. It's incredible how they don't talk about these things. Well, why is that? Oh, because they're on board with it? Why are they on board with it? Is it because they're being paid and or it is now legal to publish the propaganda? Or both? I've said this, that the defense to their license getting pulled is, hey, we weren't lying. We were promoting what they told us to say, and here's the law. It says it's legal. Okay? Very strong defense. Unless you're going to go to the next level and say, no, this is a conspiracy to undermine our democracy. It is sedition. You're aiding and abetting an insurgency. You're under arrest. Wouldn't we love to hear those words? But what they've done is now isolated themselves. They, meaning the government, not the media, them too, but the government, is isolating themselves from the electorate. And the electorate are the people that elect them to be governed by them with their consent. We consent to being governed by them. So deceptions and lies, and implicit in that, and explicitly, they take an oath to support the Constitution, uphold and defend. They changed it from uphold to support, so they've watered that down, haven't they? But isn't that interesting? So now they have eroded our rights to privacy. They can listen in on our phone calls. They can watch our emails. They can sneak and peek warrants. All of this stuff to fight terrorism. But everything they do gets called classified, state secrets, and everything there is secret. So we're not allowed to see what they do, but they are here to see what we do, because our rights are put in to protect us from the government. See how they reversed it? Now they're putting up military presence to protect them from the population after they ran this little stunt. So now the stunt justifies isolating them from the consenting public by accusing the consenting public of being terrorists. That sums it up pretty well, doesn't it, campers? All right. So the alternative deal as opposed to cruise missiles, which could happen. I'm not saying it won't, but I don't think it will. I've reconsidered, and I believe this is theater. It's showing a massive display. They may have more military presence in Washington in the future, the new normal, if Bowser has her way. So they'll make it a police state. I don't know, are they legalizing crack there? We better ask Mayor Barry. Oh, Washington, yeah. And guns and carry permits and shootings and murders. We now have the street named Black Lives Matter. Interesting. But now the Democrats all want law enforcement and police. Why? Because it's going to enforce their oppression of free speech, of us, of our public. They're going to support, and the police will prevent protests, peaceful protests, against their violating their oath. Okay? Now they want the police. You see how they did this? And the media pitches that. Propaganda. Well, now. All right, so that's where we're at, in my humble opinion. My discerning view. And I'm still watching more and looking. But I think this is going to be nothing up there, a nothing burger. And who knows, maybe they'll pick up a couple of idiots. There's always idiots that are random idiots. And then, of course, you might have properly placed idiots. But I don't think we're going to have anything major. I think it's going to go down smoothly. And then they'll get to say, see, our military presence stopped the terror attack. Yeah, okay, we'll see. Although the foundation for a false flag is perfect. It'll really usher it in. Or are they going to wait till Biden and what's-her-face get in there and then have them disappear and Pelosi declare his emergency? I don't know. I still see that happening. If I was in his place, that's what I would do. But never underestimate your adversary, right? So I don't think he's smart enough to do that. So we'll see. All right, campers. Love your thinking. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. That helps our algorithms. Subscribe. I think we're like 60 people short of 3,000. And leave a comment. All right, there you go. And again, if you're going to make an argument, cite it. You know, if it's reasoning is reasoning. Blanket conclusions don't work. They're being deleted. A couple of them, and they're being weeded. Okay, there's a difference. Permanent ostracization from the campground. All right, campers, that's the deal. I want to thank the patrons. I want to thank the supporters from PayPal. And I'm putting the links in so you can support the channel. Because I want you to know that when I'm not monetized, right? So when I send links and you go over to Buffalo Boy, well, I don't know what that guy is, but that's funny. That's Gab. But you go over to Joshua Phillip on link 6. Got 88,000 views on that. He's got some ads in there. So I'm sending you there. And you, by clicking on that, increase his revenue. Nobody's doing that here. We are viewer supported. And we, meaning our collective, because we have a good intimate group. We have intelligent people. And as they say in the South, we like that. All right. So I appreciate the support, and I encourage you to continue. And thank you greatly. We'll be back at you later. What's that thing? Yeah, sat on the levee and moaned. We're going to have to play some music later. Maybe I'll have to pull the Outrider out because that's not exactly Gollum food. All right, guys. Thanks for seeing you. Leave a comment, thumbs up, subscribe, and check these links. Joshua Phillip is good. The other full-length video I haven't watched. And then we've got Buffalo Boy. And don't forget number 10, Sydney. And answer the question, why? Smiling because we knew. We'll see you later. Bye for now.